Welcome to Spotlight. I'm your host, Amitha. Join me weekly as I talk to guests who will inspire us with their success stories and inspirational events. I'm excited to have the famous Indo-Canadian singer, composer, and music producer in our studio who has just released his single with Nargis Fakhri and Canadian rapper Cardinal Offishall. I'm excited to welcome to our show, Parichay.
Hey.
So nice to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
There's so much happening for you, and congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But first of all, let's take it a step back and find out a little bit more about your growing up and where you've come from.
Growing up, to be very honest, I'll start off by saying my memory is really, really short. I have a lot of goldfish friends. That's probably why. I'm not joking, but so I can't really think all the way back. But my journey into music has been phenomenal. I've been a very confused kid. The reason I'm saying that is because I grew up in Toronto. So when I was partying with my friends, when I was out, when I'm driving, I'm listening to soca and reggae and chutney and hip hop and R&B and dancehall. And at the same time, I'm brown, pretty much all over. But so, I grew up as a kid. I'd be in the kitchen while my mom was cooking. I'd be listening to Muhammad Rafi and Kishore. I didn't have a choice. I'm not saying it's bad. I love it. But so I was always a confused kid as far as musical influences go. I got so many different vibes in my head. So that's been my journey in terms of making this my life and my career. It's just I always believed, and my pops always told me that you got to go for it. You only live once, right? I keep saying YOLO. Yes. I don't want to say that over and over again.
Yeah, but it's true.
It's true. It's literally true. And I think as long as you give it 100%, it'll give you back 100% at some point.
Well said.
Yeah.
So you always knew that music was within you, and there was never a doubt that you were going to go some other route?
No. Having said that, yes, I love music, but I took it for granted. At one stage in my life, I felt like I wanted to, be a soccer star. And I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to do something else and this and that and different avenues I wanted to pursue. Because music was like, oh, I'm already good at that. Not good at that, but
like natural.
It's natural. Exactly. Thanks to God. But but let me do that so I can do everything. You know what I mean? But then I realized that, listen, man, just keep your path, stick to it. People are actually responding well. It's kind of paying some bills, and now for me, it's everything.
Love it. I love your focus.
Yeah, that's key in this game, yeah.
Were there any challenges, because, as you said, you're brown, I'm brown, we come from a South Asian community. Sometimes, when you take up music as a career, some people say there are challenges. Were there any for you? Yes,
there's challenges. Right after this interview, there's going to be a few challenges on my way home. You know what I mean? So the challenges are going to be there forever. The obstacles, and from a family standpoint, I always had the support. My mom comes from a very musical family. I never met my great-grandfather, but he actually played the flute in some of the biggest hits from back in the day, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of been in the I never met him, but it's been in the family, but my dad is not much of a musical person, but he's always been that, that uplifter. Go for it, man. Just follow what you want to do. But at the same time, because my parents see how much I put into it and sacrifice and hustle and whatever, so they've always been a good support. Fortunately enough, being South Asian, like you said, a lot of times kids don't have that family support. Go become a doctor or go become an engineer or whatever, right? Now they say go become a cricketer because IPL has a lot of money. But so music was always like, it's not stable. It's one of we're talking about that earlier. It's like, anything could happen. You don't want to blow your future. So they're always worried for their kids. I had that support, fortunately enough. But in terms of obstacles, it's insane because what I'm trying to do, it's not like I'm from Scarborough, right? It would have been easy for me to just get into street culture and gang culture and do the wrong things and get caught up in that. Music kept me off the streets and out of all those, those negative things in life. However, the major industries out in India. So although we're South Asian and brown and whatever, you got to go out there. And when I first showed up, I was born in India, by the way, but going there after so many years is like 180 degrees in terms of dealing with things. You know what I mean? So there's tons of obstacles. And plus, I always want to bring a new sound. I always want to do something different because those are my influences. I don't want to go there and give them what they already have. You know what I mean? So it's different. When something's new and different, there's always going to be friction and blah, blah, blah. So those challenges occur all throughout the journey. But the positive thing is you got to keep going, man.
You have a very good positive attitude, humble, grounded. That's amazing.
Or I'd be broke and sitting at home. You know what I mean? So I have to.
Well said. Again, it's your focus. That's great.
That's the key. Yeah.
Okay. Now, but you're not just a singer. You wear multiple hats, like we were talking about, singer, composer.
I'm just wearing one for now.
And today is a multiple hat. It's all in one. Yeah. And composer. Now, do your projects demand for all of them at the same time, or some projects call for one versus the other?
That's a great question. Actually, again, when I reached out to India and I started doing film music, people, they love to categorize you. So I got called music director. That made me feel like, man, I'm not no 60-year-old, you know what I'm saying? I ain't a music director.
You visualize it.
Yeah, it just makes you, it puts you in like a different, like they categorize you, and I'm not a music director. I'm not a music composer. I'm not a programmer. I'm not, you know, I'm an artist. I'm a musical artist. That's how I always saw myself, and that's how everybody from Toronto and from the West and whatever, we see ourselves as artists, right? So, yeah, I make my beats. I compose the vocal melodies. I sing because I feel like not too many times have I seen someone express my song better than I have. It happens, and it could happen, but when you get into the vibe of your own song, I think you can express it the best. So yeah, I love to sing. Being on stage is like my biggest high, right? After coffee, but and a few other things. But anyway, I won't get into that.
But again, you do focus. Everybody has.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I wanted to. I love singing, so that takes one hat. Production, that takes another hat, because I'll tell you, there was a time when I played in an alternative rock band.
Wow.
And a lot of times the keyboard player wouldn't show up to band practice. So I would fill in. So that's how I learned how to play the keyboard. And sometimes the guitarist would you know, slack. So I started playing the guitar. Then I had so much music in me. I was like, listen, man, I want to get it out. How do I get it out? I had to make my own beats because I hated waiting for people. So that just led from one thing to the other. And then I ended up doing film music. And film music is such a big thing, and you got to do... Anyway, I can keep going on and on. But so you got to keep wearing different hats. I just enjoy every one of them.
Awesome. Like you're so resourceful, so focused, and you've paved the way for many out here.
Oh, thank you.
Now we are going to find out about your Bollywood music and about the concerts we want to find out.
Sure.
But before that, it's time for a short break. Welcome back to Spotlight. We are talking to Parichay. So now let's find out a bit more. You told us about how you entered the Bollywood industry, but when did that first break come?
The first break, it came in bits and pieces, to be very honest. And when I was doing independent music back in '09, my first album was, you know, Deewana Tera was a big song for me. It really put me on the map as far as people, you know, the youth was like, who the hell is this guy? And then that kind of got me into the Yamla Pagla Deewana remix, singing that.
Wonderful.
And then I ended up singing O Meri Chandni with Sunidhi Chauhan. I met her 5 years or 4 years later, but I met her recently, actually. I hadn't even met her. This was recorded somewhere else, that was recorded somewhere else, and then brought together. So those were bits and pieces, you know? And those are still remakes of old songs, so I didn't feel like it was my stamp in Bollywood. When I did Love Shuda last year, that was my big break in Bollywood, because first of all, it was for Tips music, and they're known for their music, right? And I did 4 out of 5 songs in a mainstream Bollywood film, and I sang 3 out of those 4. I got vocals 3 out of those 4. So that
all amazing tracks, I must say.
Oh, thank you, thank you. So that was, that's like after 65 versions of each song, we got to that stage. But I'm glad, you know. So that project really pushed me and, you know, made me hit different boundaries for myself. I got to work with Vishal Dadlani, who's a good friend of mine, and Vishal and Shekhar are legends in the music game, in the Bollywood music game. So I got to work with Neha Kakkar, who's a good friend of mine, and I think she's amazingly super talented. I got to work with Gippy Grewal, who's a Punjabi rock star, as they call him. And so that was my major impact. I also remixed Atif Aslam's song with Mithun, Marjain, for the same soundtrack. So that's when I felt like this is my stamp in Bollywood. And it started off with one song, and then I played him more music, ended up being 2 and 3, and then that's how I got 4 out of 5 on that soundtrack. So that was my major break, and now I'm working on several other films.
Yes,
So.
And hats off to you, and congratulations on your new single.
Oh, thank you.
With Nargis Fakhri with Z Music. So tell us a bit more about the experience.
The experience was awesome. When I first made the beat, again, this is something different. When I went there, I noticed a lot of the composers, they write the music on the guitars first, and then the music is produced by someone else after. So my way of working is very Western, is what we do out here. We make the beat first, and then compose on top of that, or write the vocal on top of that. So I had the beat ready, and I felt like, you know, this is not a film vibe, because it's clear separation. Although they wanted, it's a lot of modernization happening in Bollywood film music, it's still certain vibes just won't work, you know what I mean, in a film situation. So I knew it was going to be a single, and I wanted to do something big in terms of getting East and West together. That's always been my thing. So I reached out to my management in India. I said, listen, speak to Nargis. I think she's the right fit, because the song has a Western vibe. I know she's from New York. She's going to like the song, blah, blah, blah. They said, cool, what if she says no? Who else, what is your option 2, 3, 4? I said, nobody. I said, we need to get Nargis on this. Yeah.
Good.
Because if you have options, you're going to end up with the options. You know what I mean? So I said, we got to make this happen. I got a call 2 days later saying, yo, she's down. Can you send her 3 songs? I said, cool. So I reached out to her. I said, sending you 3 songs, blah, blah, blah. And she wrote back saying, I like this record. And I knew she was going to like that record. That was in my mind from the beginning. And then Cardi, who's a Canadian music legend, you know what I mean? For all of us that make music here, he's always been that guy that first broke out. Household name. He broke out into the mainstream first, you know what I mean? So everybody looks up to him, from Drake to Tory Lanez. Everybody has good things to say about him, you know? So I always wanted to work with Cardi, and we got common friends. So I reached out to my boy Troy. I'm like, listen, man, let's make this happen. I got a song. It got a Bollywood actress on it. She's hot. And if we can get Cardi, it'd be like a perfect East meets West type of collaboration. He's like, cool, send me the record. I sent him 3 options, and I knew he was gonna pick the same one, and he picked the same one. So I said, cool, and then we met. He killed his verse on the song, so big shout out to him. And then when we got to the studio, I was with Nargis. She flew in from LA. She was in LA at the time, and I said, listen, you want to take a shot at singing something? She's like, man, I don't speak no Punjabi or Hindi. I go, don't worry, we're gonna do this one line at a time. We had only an hour, because the OVO crew was gonna come to the studio right after us, so we only had an hour. And so we got in, and I was like, listen, I've sang it in the song. You just we're gonna do one line at a time. And she goes, yo, I just wanna make sure I get it right. I'll do it, but I go 100%. So that, I really appreciate that, because when an artist or actress or whatever, they wanna put in the effort to get it right, it makes your life easier, right? So she nailed it one line at a time. I was like, you want to do harmony? She's like, what's that? Yeah, I explained to her. She goes, yeah, I'll do it. It makes it sound better. So she put in the effort. In an hour, we were out that studio. And she said, well, let's see how it sounds. If it's good, we'll keep it. And it sounded good, so we kept it. Next day we shot the music video. It was a great time, and boom. And next thing you know, people are like loving the song, so I'm really happy about that.
I've listened to it, and honestly, I didn't even realize, but she sounds so good. He had a good mentor too, I would think. Somebody who persists and...
That's the key, is to bring out the best out of somebody, you know? I could have just said, sing it, and then I'll throw auto-tune on it and whatever, but there's almost no auto-tune on her voice.
Awesome. You know, it sounds awesome.
Naturally.
You should check it out. Habita Vigardi, right?
Habita Vigardi.
See, now I need to spend more time with you, so I get mentored too.
Actually, I want to give a big shout out to Kumar. Kumar Paji is the lyricist of the song. He's written some of the biggest hits, from Chitti Uncle Naiya to Baby Doll to Suraj Dubai, all the big hits in Bollywood. Him and I are really close. So when we did Pine Ki Tamanna, he wrote the lyrics, and then Total Tali was the other song for Love Shuda. He wrote. So I called him, I said, this is the music, come over, and he introduced me to a new beer in India called Hayward's 2000. I'm not trying to endorse liquor, but it was a good vibe, and that's how this happened, actually.
Okay, amazing. Well, we love all your projects.
Thank
and what is coming up in Bollywood for you, or in general?
In general, right now, Habitat, the vibe is still building.
It's going to go on for a long time.
Thank you. Yeah. Potentially a remix video for that. But my next project is with Sean Kingston.
Wow.
So that song's done, the video's done, and he's really excited because this is his first time in India. So I got him to say Bollywood girls, and I got him to say shout out to India, and I got him to do all these things. That's going to really connect with the Indian audience, with the South Asian audiences in general. So it's like a Punjabi, English, and a Hindi song. It's a straight party banger, so hopefully people like that.
I love the fusion that you're bringing along with every project that you do.
Thank you.
And that's why we say like you're a trailblazer for a lot of people out here.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
We want to find out a little bit more. We're going to go to a different topic about the concerts. It's a different vibe. So we'll find out a bit more about that after a short break. Welcome back to Spotlight. We are talking to Parichay. So let's digress for a bit, get away from the recordings and talk about concerts because the fans love to connect with you.
Yeah.
How is it different and why is it so important for you?
Actually, if I had a choice, I'd just be on stage forever.
But we love you.
Thank you. You got to spend time in the studio to get to the stage, right? That's the reason why. But I absolutely love the high of being on stage, vibing with people, making them sing. You know, that's when they feel like, yo, we can belt it out too. And that's cool. It's all about the energy and the vibe, right? So I've always loved performing. And I've had the pleasure and honor to be able to perform at some really, really awesome stages, you know, from Times Square, New York, which had like 300,000 people. It was crazy. I couldn't believe the vibe. That energy, man. I wish I could rewind time to IFA in 2011 when Bipasha was here and Lisa Ray was on stage with me. And it was a great vibe. Miss India Canada performed there. I've performed at ZTV's Antakshari in India as a kid. All over India at colleges and even wedding gigs. And so I love performing, Miss. The UK Asian Music Awards 2 years back in London as well. So yeah, I've been very lucky. And there's a million stages I still want to rock, Madison Square Garden included.
Yeah, because you're awesome. The fans, you know, love you, and that's why we want you on stage.
Oh,
and
that's
you
great.
know, all the projects, you know, that's coming your way. So all hats off to you because I can already feel the vibe here. You as an artist, you're doing so well. You're so high up there, but yet you're so grounded, so honest, so truthful.
Miss, I ain't high up nowhere, to be very honest with you. I'm still at like maybe 25%, maybe 20% of where I want to be. So this is just the beginning.
But that's because you're just very humble and you're a mentor also to many local artists like Yuvraj Goel, Kirti Jyoti. Like, why is it important for you to stay grounded to your roots? I have to ask.
That's a great question. It's, you know what? At some stage you realize when I first started out, I loved it. Girls were hollering, and you know what I mean. So I was enjoying the vibe, but then I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a genetic thing. It's always been focused for me, so I'm very good at literally cutting off all the BS and just like a racehorse, just keeping your eyes on the prize type of thing, which is maybe a genetic thing, I'm not sure, but I think it's very important. So being a mentor and stuff like that, hey man, a big shout out to Yuvraj, big shout out to Kirti and all the local artists, everybody that's doing it. They're all my friends, and I have respect for every artist. Doesn't matter where you are in the musical hierarchy or in terms of success or money or whatever, it don't matter. It's the hustle, and we all connect on a creative level. You know what I mean? You can put 100 musicians in this room right here, and we'll be good. We'll find things to talk about. There won't be no awkward moments, you know. So and it won't matter who's how big and whatever. But of course, there's different respect levels. But being a mentor and stuff like that, hey, anybody wants to reach out to me, and if I feel like they're ready, and you know, if I could put them on a song, I have done that with a few Canadian singers actually. Farzana is one of them. She's a singer. I put her on a song which is absolutely phenomenal. It's going to be in a film very soon, and she sang this 2 years ago. And things take time, right? You never know when it gets placed. It was supposed to be in a film, but I won't go into that story. And then last minute something happened, but no one's asked me to change their voice. Normally, a lot of people have their input and they want this one's voice or that one's voice, but there's talent. There's so much talent here. And my thing is just bridging the gap, you know, just going over there and trying to do big things and legendary things. That's what I'm trying to reach out to. So that, like I said, I'm only at 20%, 25% of where I want to be. There's so much more we still need to gain. I want the Bollywood industry guys to come out to Toronto.
Wow.
You know, sit out here with us and say, give us music that we can't get out there. You know, that's the type of stuff I'm trying to work towards. So that, I think, will be fulfilled in a few years. But when that happens, we'll have another interview and we can celebrate success. But for now, there's too much work left to be done.
Well, it's amazing. It's so nice talking to you, Parichay.
Thank you.
I can see you bring the world together with
music.
your passion
Oh,
for music.
Man.
You heal through music.
I feel like that flower boy or something.
But really, there's so many people today who are watching us and they do look up to you. Well, I have been totally inspired by you today.
Oh, that's awesome.
With all the amazing work you do, but also because you're such an amazing person.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
I have a request for you, for the aspiring artists who are watching us today. Do you have any words of advice?
Words of advice for everyone starting out. First of all, you can't do music, specifically about music. You can't do music just for the girls and, you know what I mean? The materialistic things. They'll come. And they'll come to a point where you just don't care about it no more. Because you just want to push boundaries, you know what I mean? And that's what it's about. So, yeah, enjoy the perks. I'm not saying no, you know, the cars and the girls and the blah, 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 and the party life. But it's so easy to get swayed away by that. You can't. You got to keep that focus. And I think it's important to go for greatness. You know, that's the people, just look at some of the great things people have done and try to push those boundaries and do even bigger things, bring the world together. Because music is the only thing. Look at politics right now. Look at the state of the world. Yes. People are fighting too much. And music is the only thing that brings us all together, you know what I'm saying? So that's important. And I got three more very, very big songs, and they're all East meets West type of collaborations. So the big projects, I'm really excited about that. And I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. If it inspires people and pushes them to do big things, hey, man, that's ultimate happiness, you know what I'm saying? So well,
you have inspired me a lot today, including our viewers. And we wish you all the best for all the projects that are upcoming.
That's awesome.
And we, you know, pray that you reach soaring heights.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you once again.
Thank you for having me. Big shout out.
So that was Parichay, who has inspired us to follow our passions, stay true to our roots, and find success in life. Well, that's a wrap for this week's show. Thank you for watching us. Continue to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and write to us at spotlight@ethnicchannels.com. Until next week, this is Amitha encouraging you to follow your dreams.